Say you invest in a startup and now own a part of the company. But then you don't know who owns the rest? Or how big is your slice compared to everyone else's? You'd normally rely on documents, contracts, or scattered spreadsheets to figure out who owns the rest, or how your shares compare to others. Instead of going through a series of paperwork to find that out, companies use something called a cap table. A cap table, short for capitalization table, is basically a record of who owns what in a company. It shows all the shareholders, how many shares they hold, and what type of shares they have. With it, you are able to track everything in one place. It helps founders, investors, and employees see how ownership changes over time. A typical cap table track things like convertible equity, which can later turn into shares, warrants, rights to buy stock in the future, preferred shares, usually owned by investors, common shares, usually owned by founders and employees, and any other form of company ownership. It can also show each investor's contribution, the number of shares they own, and their percentage of ownership. For example, when building a cap table, you'd normally show how much each investor put in, how many common and preferred shares they hold, their total ownership percentage. That way, when the company raises more money, it's easy to see how ownership shifts, or how much your share gets diluted. In a nutshell, a cap table is like the company's ownership sheet. It keeps everyone on the same page about who owns what and how things change as the business grows. So, when next you decide to invest in a startup or build your own company, you might want to keep an eye on the cap table. It's the simplest way to stay on top of who owns what. For more short and clear explainer videos like this, follow TechLoy.